This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.
The Black Tax Pivot, How to Survive and Thrive Under the Trump Cuts. Free for a limited time, then available for $7.99 on Amazon. Inside, we break down how to use the new tax code to your advantage, how to restructure your business or start one, why trades and skills are your gateway to wealth, how to shift from spending to ownership fast. We don't have to like the game, but we better learn how to win it. No more excuses. Learn the code, build the power, own your future. Thank you to everyone who supported us through Super Chat. Your contributions keep independent media alive and thriving. We couldn't do it without you. Stand up, speak out, rock the message that matters. Community before party. Get your shirt today and let your vote wear your interests and values over party loyalty. Stand strong. Speak loud. Wear the truth. The Black Mental Health Matters Team. Support health, wellness, mental clarity, and independent media. Get yours now.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Damon K. Jones, and welcome to the People Before Politics show. This is we're doing a special night tonight. We're having a friend of mine come on. He's gonna come on later, brother Elias Husamudeen from Let's Talk Politics, New York. Man, we want to have a great discussion about what's going on in New York City politics. Big shout out to my brother Tony Herbert. I saw him live today on Facebook, and he was actually having a conversation what I want to talk to my brother Elias about for what is actually going on in the New York City mayoral race, because it's a lot of funny politics happening down there, and we want to make sure that we are definitely giving the people the correct information. You know, I don't live in the five boroughs, but I definitely understand that there is a concern about the politics that is actually happening in New York City. The direction of New York City politically, and what the political direction it will actually take the state of New York. You know, dependent on who actually wins. And I think that is very, very important. For those of you won't be any morning tea this week, but we're going to have we're going to go into what's on Black Westchester magazine, you know, because that's why many people watch us, because they actually want to know what is actually happening, and we are the ones who give the news with the Black point of view. Actually, from Black Westchester. So if you haven't been to the website, definitely go to the website. Tomorrow in Mount Vernon, it's going to be charter review commission and a public forum. People in Mount Vernon need to show up to actually figure out what's going on, because they're talking about changing the charter. People in Mount Vernon, definitely show up tomorrow and voice your concerns about what they are trying to change about the charter in the city of Mount Vernon. I've always maintained my opinion that there's nothing wrong with the charter. The problem is who y'all vote in city government. You need to change the people that's in city government, not the charter. You wouldn't have a problem if you if you actually are coming out and voting for the right people. You wouldn't have to go through all this charter review stuff, because people will be actually doing what they're supposed to do. I'm gonna leave that one right there. We had King Jenkins. He testifies at the New York State Public Service Commission hearing opposing Con Ed hikes. It seems like in New York, everything is getting more expensive. The Con Ed bills are getting out of hand, and a lot of the problems is when they closed Indian Point. You wonder why you paying high bills. You closed Indian Point. You didn't replace it with anything. Westchester County.
Ironically, that was something that Richard Thomas was warning about back in the days of the closing of it. He fought against it. That was a big deal for him. I don't know if he had something to do with energy. I think he had something to do with energy or something.
Yeah, he worked on some. He worked with like an energy lobbying company or something
But
before he was
he was always speaking on just that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a surprise. You close Indian Point. You didn't replace it with anything, and now you wonder why the Con Ed bills are out of control. Listen,
I put that up. Ken Jenkins testified. They had public hearings at Cortland Manor and Westchester County Center today, but most people didn't know about it. There's one more in the Bronx on Eastchester Road tomorrow for those who actually want to testify and speak their piece. You can read about it in the article.
Yep. And it never fails. It never fails with Mike Lawler. Yo, this guy, it's like every 3 months, right? He just pisses he does things and just pisses the Democrats off, and they go completely over the rail. So
actually, I get emails about him and protests about him, and like almost weekly, sometimes several times a week. Most of them I don't really do, but this one, she I forgot what she did. She did something.
She was supposed to be in a Signal or in a chat group,
right? But she was under a different name. But the problem is when you do Signal, no matter what name you use,
somebody had to put you in there.
No, but not only that though. Say you went to Signal, right? And I had a group, and you was in my Signal group, and you wanted to use the name Black Mandingo or something.
Right.
But if I have your number in my phone, it's going to show up Damon K. Jones on my phone.
No, right,
so
exactly.
That's what she did. She used some name like Jake Thomas, and someone recognized her number. And
but not only that, she had to be added to the group. Someone added her.
But they might have
sneak in the group.
Yeah, no, she might have got in some kind of, I don't know how she got in, but anyway, she was trying to rally them to heckle Lola and stuff like that. And then when the woman did, she got thrown out at the meet in the yeah. It's a big deal. Yeah, they're literally carrying a woman out because she at one of his things. He had her like literally the cops pick her up. They had her legs and her arms carried her out of the.
It was one of his own associates talked him into doing that.
Yeah, and it was the reason she did it. I don't know what the reason was. I forgot what the reason was. But anyway, so the organizations. There's like 8 or 9 organizations, a lot of indivisibles.
This guy, man, it never fails. Like he always does something to piss off Westchester Democrats, man.
Well, it wasn't even just all Westchester. It was Putnam and Dutchess, like the rest of his. It wasn't just Westchester. It was like the Putnam,
the group was that big.
Yeah, Putnam Indivisible, Dutchess Indivisible, Yorktown Indivisible. It was like, a bunch of indivisible groups. Peekskill, some organization in Peekskill. There was about 8 or 9 organizations that signed on to that letter. Another great article by Lanez.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's absolutely right. We don't talk about gut health and the importance of having a healthy gut and how that reflects on our health, how it reflects on our mental clarity, our immune system. I think that's very important. This is not surprising, right? The NAACP will not be inviting Trump.
So the president, I saw he was on the president, Derek Johnson. He was on some CBS News show called The Takeout, and they asked him about it. He was like, yo, we invited the dude, Trump, the candidate in 2016. We invited him every year he was president. We invited him 2020 again as a candidate. He said no. He turned us down every other time. And he was like, yo, we didn't invite him this year. So Stephen A. Smith, who's now doing politics and entertainment and everything on his podcast.
He went off on him.
He went off saying a bunch of stuff. And then, the guy responded, president responded to Stephen A. Smith. And, so he talks about why he didn't. You have to watch this video. Is real short. You can talk about it. But he had valid reasons. But he made a valid case on why. But it's in there. So in a 116-year history of the NAACP national conventions, this is the first time a sitting president was not invited. Now, every year president didn't, I think George W. Bush didn't go once or twice, but they were all invited. This is the first time he has the sitting president wasn't inviting that. And that's the reason I wrote it. It's kind of historical. So, and again, you can listen to him. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not, you listen, watch the video. He makes cases. You either, like what he said. Yeah, you like what he said. Yeah, you like what he said or you don't like what he said, but I let the people judge for themselves. And Tasha asked me, did you ever put up because I put it in the paper, Whiteness is a Powerful Drug, part 1 and part 2.
No, you put it up. I thought you put that up before. But
no, the first one, part 1. She did a part 2. And it was in the paper, but I never put it up because she wanted to send it somewhere. So I just shared it now. She wanted to do some kind of carousel thing on social media with both parts in it. So I put it up and I shared it. A lot of people has been checking for it. So
okay, all right, great. And this is very interesting. So Trump administration announced the National Farm Security Plan. Basically, we don't own a lot of our farmland. China does. China also owns the largest seed company for the farms in the United States. And when you have a foreign government that owns so much a part of your food chain, it's a problem. Don't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, when a country owns so much of your food chain, you have a problem. But the question is this: what does it mean for Black America and Black farmers? Because we do not have a food chain at all. So if they see it as a national security that farmland, the fruits and vegetables that are produced from their farmland, and that we allow other countries to produce our fruits and vegetables for us and send it to us that's on a macro level, but on a micro level, how do we relate that as Black people? Because we don't have a food chain. We can't trace the food in our communities back to Black farmers. A lot of other ethnic groups can do that. We can't do it. So if they see it on a level of national security for the nation, why aren't we having this conversation? Because food is health and wellness. And we got food deserts in the Black communities. We get all this processed food in the Black communities. And we have not created, we talk about all this other stuff, these Black leaders be talking about. But health and wellness is very important. And we should understand the importance of having food chains, especially this summer. I don't know, Kobe used to, a lot of people do the farmers market in the summertime. And I think that's great. But we also need to, on a national level and a local level, to connect to our Black farmers so we could have a food chain, because if they see it as national security, we should see it as some type of security risk in the Black communities.
I've gone to a bunch of places where, and we have Black farmers, and there's a Black farmer network. We need to support that. We need to invest.
We had them on the show.
Yeah, and there's several of them, and they have an annual thing, a health and wellness thing in 4th Street Playground once a year. Usually it's annually, and they're usually there and they're represented, and they try to get people, teach people and all that stuff, and people, you want to listen to the music and dance and do other things and don't always pay attention to what they're saying. So, but you should, when you see these Black farmers, you should look up the Black farmers and you should support them, because we need that to grow in our community, and that's how it's going to grow, by our supporting.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of health and wellness, people might disagree, but I think this is great. RFK is threatening that doctors learn nutrition.
We had Dr. Cedric on, and one thing he said, him and a few other doctors that I've been watching, Brenda's been showing me, doctors that she referred her husband to, and she's been sending me their videos. And they all said that doctors do not learn nutrition.
They're not taught nutrition.
They're not taught nutrition. And one of the doctors he had a video, and he was talking about he was helping somebody naturally. You know what I'm saying? Not with the medication and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so the person's wife went to the administrator in the hospital and was praising him for doing it and taking him off his blood pressure medicine. And the administration at the hospital almost lost their shit. Like, they didn't know he was doing this. Like, oh, you can't, he was subscribed to this. You can't take him off of that. And he was helping them. And he is no longer there. And now he's doing his own thing. But he almost lost his job over that. And he said he had people coming to him, like if he was like a drug dealer, like, yo, I want that what you did for him. Like, they were like whispering, because it was like, it wasn't. No, but it's part of the. It wasn't an approved thing that he was doing.
No, but it's part of the Ponzi scheme when it comes to health and wellness, especially in the Black community. Especially
Dr. Cedric, to quote him again, and he said this, and I never thought about that. He said the Food and Drug Administration should not be the same organization. He said, because this is the administration that approves all the food that is not good for you. And then the other part of the administration approves all the drugs for you to take after the food that they approved got you sick and made you lifelong customers for the drugs that they're now approving.
RFK has said the same thing. And now he's putting policy to work. This is something great for the Black community, that doctors learn nutrition, because you get on these medications and you stay on these medications for long term. It does other things to your bodies, people. You end up with other illnesses. That's why they have side effects. And when you're on these statins and high blood pressure and diabetes medication and all these, you end up, and the only thing these doctors want you to do is just increase the medication instead of changing your diet.
I told you, did I tell you the story? So somebody Brenda knew, she was telling her how her husband started taking a clove of garlic a day and ended up getting off his blood pressure medicine. So this individual decided to do it. So the doctor was like, yo, your blood pressure is starting to drop a lot. Like, it was lower, than he wanted it. And he said, what have you been doing? He said, taking a clove of garlic a day. He didn't say, I'm going to take you off the blood pressure medicine. He said, stop eating that garlic. That's like the doctor ordered him to stop eating the garlic. Your word.
Stop eating the garlic. I'm like, listen, I have a mason jar, and I found up here at one of the supermarkets, they have crushed garlic and ginger mixed. comes in the thing. So I put it all in the mason jar and I put honey in it. And my wife hates it because I take a spoonful every morning. It ain't great for the breath, but I'm trying to stay alive, right?
Yeah,
Ooh,
I keep it right by my computer. Can you see this?
Exactly.
I break a piece off when I went in the morning. I break a piece off.
Exactly.
And I eat it.
Because listen, man, Elijah Muhammad told us your kitchen is your medicine cabinet. Your kitchen is your medicine cabinet. And we have to change our lifestyle. You know, y'all can hate Trump all you want. I really don't give a damn. But the things that this man is doing, RFK, out of that office, is on point to what a lot of the holistic and health and wellness teachers have been saying, even from the Black community, about how this government keeps us sick. You can say all you want. You can say it's a nut job. You can say all you want. But he's been on point. He's been on point. And that medication it kills us. It just masks. It doesn't solve it.
And
like,
side effects. Remember when you introduced me to your doctor? Do you remember the reason why? So my doctor, I had gout. I haven't had bothered me in a while. I had gout, and my doctor took me off the gout medicine and gave me an additional blood pressure medicine. You know, a gout flare up is like 3-4 days. I had it on and off for like 31 days. I went to the foot doctor. His name is Dr. Nee. It kills me that I have a foot doctor named Dr. Nee. I just get a kick out of that. Anyway, so I went to him right on Gramerton over there, and when I told him, he was like, "Do not go back to that doctor." I said, "What? Why?" He said, "Because any doctor should know that this medicine is not good. That this particular blood pressure medicine is not good for people who have gout." So it was causing me to have gout, flare-ups, and he took me off the gout medicine. When I told you that, that's when you introduced me to your doctor, K. Rowe.
Dr. Rowe, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Rowe. And I started seeing that till he retired. That's the reason. Because of that, I was never going back to my doctor again, and you introduced me to Dr. Rowe.
Yeah, Dr. Rowe was thorough, man. Like, we don't have, like, he was an old school doctor, man. Dr. Rowe was very, very thorough. But also, even with Dr. Rowe, he wouldn't get into nutrition. You know, he would say some slight stuff, eat more salads. No, right. Dude, just say, change your diet, right? So the whole thing is we have to change. We really have to change our diets, and RFK is doing some great things. You know, look, you have companies now saying they're changing their ingredients. He's forcing companies to change what ingredients that they put in these foods. He's forcing the soda monopoly, right? Because I know that there's a state that's going a whole health plan. So they're taking soda off of SNAP. They say, no, you can't use SNAP to buy soda. And the soda conglomerate is pressuring the governor and those people not to change it, even though they know that soda is bad for you.
Yo, when you go, so I worked for Coca-Cola, right? Do you know one of the things in the training video they show you? The truck drivers use Coca-Cola. You know that corrosion and stuff that you get on your battery?
Yeah. To get that shit on your battery.
You pour that and it eats it all up. They show you that in training. Like, and then you work for the company. Like, you're supposed to promote the company now. Like, they show you that it will eat the corrosion. And yeah, they show you that during training.
Yeah, I want to get through. So this is another great story, man.
Well, you know our guest is here. You do see our guest, right?
Yeah. I'm getting ready to bring him in. He was here before you.
Oh.
he backstage laughing.
Yeah, I know. He was laughing at half the stuff I was saying. Yeah.
He was here before you. Charleston White reversed course, and now he defends Carmelo Anthony. And I said it's a wake-up call for Black Americans and their broken lens on Black youth injustice. So Charleston White a video went viral, and I'll probably make a video on it later, man. I have the video. I just haven't really just touched it. But he basically said that he had to sit down with his father, Carmelo Anthony's father. And there's a video, I guess, from the school. So he didn't take it. It was an event. It wasn't in the school. And Charleston White said that the boy is going to beat the case when everything come out. He said both of the brothers ran up on him. And then he went at the father. Said the father is just coming around. He was never in the twins' lives. He said he attacking Carmelo Anthony's father for being a good father and defending a father that was never in these boys' lives. And one of the twins beat up the father. Recently beat up the father.
So what did he say originally about the case? He said
the boy should go to jail. Yeah, he went at Carmelo Anthony.
Okay.
Thinking that he took the knife to school, which he didn't take the knife to school.
That's the narrative when we ran the thing.
Exactly.
All the YouTube comments, you go through the YouTube comments, it was like, oh, so you're defending somebody who they said he was suspended and brought a knife to school, wasn't supposed to be in school, and then brought a knife to school, and a whole bunch of other stuff they were saying. So yeah.
Exactly. But
peace to brother Joshua Hood. I see his name on the screen. Joshua.
Yeah. Without further ado, man, we want to get into this New York City mayor race, man. My brother Elias is here, man. Welcome, brother. Welcome for coming on the show.
You're muted. You're still. Can I unmute him?
No, I can't. I was trying to unmute him myself.
Oh, he has to do it.
I did.
There we go. You got it. You good?
Okay.
Yep. Peace, brother.
I was trying to figure this thing out. I ain't got it figured out yet.
You have an echo. Do you have two things on, a computer and a phone? I'm hearing the echo.
I got one of my laptop is on. I got to turn it off.
You at least turn the volume down because we're hearing the echo when you talk.
Can you still hear it?
Nope, you good now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I do that sometimes. I have it on my phone. I forget to turn my phone down. You'll hear me twice.
Okay, so we good now, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
Okay.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you
Welcome,
very much,
man. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you for coming
so
on, man.
You guys doing?
Introduce him. Tell everybody who he is, so everybody knows.
This is my brother. He used to be the president of the great New York City Correctional Officers Benevolent Association. The brother's retired correction officer, and recently you started what is it? Let's talk politics, right? NYC, right. And he's been doing a great job and keeping me informed because he's been texting the stuff to me, and I know we had to talk last Sunday about the mayor race, and then I said, man, let me reach out to brother Elias to bring him on, because I really want to have somebody to talk to Westchester and people that watch the show on YouTube and in different channels, for somebody who actually is in the mix. I mean, we could look from the outside. I talk to Charles Billups. I get the stuff from you, but I really want to hear from people that's in there, and they let them know what's going on, because from what the media is saying, and I was just watching brother Tony Herbert, he was live on Facebook when I was setting everything up.
Okay.
And he was going off on some things about the whole race and how it's affecting and how it's affecting everybody. Well, welcome, brother.
Thank you very much, man. I like you said, I'm retired. I did 34 years, New York City Department of Corrections. 25 of those years I did in the union as the treasurer, the vice president, and I retired as the president following behind Norman Seabrook. So, I've pretty much been involved in the politics of New York City since my adolescent days, even before coming into corrections, uh, through the masjid, Malcolm Shabazz Masjid up in
Mhm.
Harlem on 116th Street and Lenox Avenue is actually where I got my start as far as being involved in the political world. Since I retired, I've always been a writer. I did a lot of writing for the union. Actually, the way I came into the union is through my writing. Norman and them discovered that I was writing an underground newsletter at that time, but I wasn't putting my name on it because back then, if the union didn't get you, management got you. But I was
Right.
putting out a newsletter just to inform members, keep members informed as to what their rights are, what the union's right responsibility was with the department. And, so writing has always been a thing of mine. So in April, I started, I published my own magazine called Let's Talk Politics New York City. And basically, I decided that I would only focus on Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island. That's it, the five boroughs. Did I miss one? No, I don't think so. So, I've been following the mayor's election. It's a lot going on. Uh, the Democratic Party is, in my opinion, uh, in disarray. Actually confused. Uh,
Right.
as a Democrat myself, I couldn't, if you asked me who my Democratic leader was in New York City, I couldn't tell you. I mean,
Mm.
back in the days, it would be easy to say, oh, it's the mayor. Oh, it's the governor. Oh, it's Congressman so and so or Senator so and so. Right now, you don't really have anybody running up to the stage to say, follow me, or this is what we're doing. It's
Right.
just kind of like all over the place.
Wow.
And right now, honestly, they're taking an ass whipping from the millennials. Like I'm looking at this whole mayor's race in
Right.
terms of generation.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
right now, what they call the silent generation, which is my parents' generation, our fathers, mothers' generation,
Mhm.
they're damn near gone. Very
Right.
few of them are left. Then you have our generation, which is the baby boomers, and the millennials and the Gen Z are our children and grandchildren.
Right.
And right now, they're doing a number on on us. I don't think Andrew Cuomo, who's from the baby boomer, our generation, I don't think
Mhm.
he was ready. I don't think he saw this coming. I don't think he
No.
saw this truck coming down the road. I think for somebody who got damn near all the black endorsements, all the union endorsements, all the Latino endorsements, and still took an ass whipping, says a whole lot about us not paying attention. I think right now, when it comes to Eric Adams, to be honest with you, I think he's going to take another ass whipping if he don't wake up and pay attention. Right now, it appears, and you guys can stop me whenever, because
No,
I'll
no,
talk
no,
forever.
no. Listen,
It
you're giving it from up front, and that's what we
it
need to hear.
it
Absolutely.
it it appears that, to be honest with you, this particular generation, like I have three kids, they're all millennials.
Mhm.
Marxism, socialism,
Mhm.
communism, none of the isms mean to them what it meant to me or
Exactly.
our parents'
Exactly.
generation. They're not
Exactly.
even looking at it like that. It's not even it's not something that they're paying attention to. So when you have a Cuomo or even when you have Eric who decide, oh, he's a socialist, oh, he's a communist, oh, he's stop. The reality is y'all better wake up and pay attention to who is running, and he's a Democrat. I don't care what labels you give him. I don't even care what labels he give himself. I don't care if he calls himself a socialist Democrat. It really doesn't mean anything. Um, in the 2021 election primary, pretty much, I think something like maybe 200,000 people voted in the primary in 2021. and this primary damn near a million. And for whatever reason, the voters that are millennials and Gen Z are voting. They're here. And the reality is they're not just black. They're not just Latino. I don't know the last time you've been to Harlem, and I don't think Biggie would recognize BK or Bed-Stuy if he walked that block today or tomorrow.
Exactly.
Those millennials and these Gen Z consist of a conglomerate of people, and like I said, I don't mean to be redundant, but they're looking at other things. They're looking at the fact that they can't afford to rent an apartment.
Right.
They're looking at the fact that they can't really find a job, and they don't just want a job. I mean, like I argue sometimes with some of my friends who we're all mostly baby boomers, and a lot of times we all complain about the millennials, but I always ask one question: who raised the millennials?
Exactly.
Well, it's three of us sitting right here. And how many times have we told our children, you don't have to put up with that. You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to accept that. And guess what? Now they're telling you, we're not putting up with that. We're not dealing with that. And they're not looking, I'm telling you, they're not looking at things the way we did because of our experience. They're not even viewing race through the same lenses as we are. They're just not. And you know, I've been writing about it in my magazine, and I think that in New York City in this mayor's election, it could be quite an upset if they don't pay attention.
Oh, and we're split anyway, man. You got Al Sharpton over here. You got Tamika Mallory. You got all the podium activists. That's what I call them. All the podium activists. You know, getting behind Mandami. We had Sam Antar last week, 2 weeks ago, and he was discussing Mandami's finances, you know, because he's a forensic investigator. He's the one that found all the information on Tish. And he was looking at the financial reports from Mandami, and it was all rich people. It was all the same people that he claimed he was going to go after was funding the PACs and funding his campaigns.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? I look at it, and to be honest with you, Danny, they don't care.
Exactly. Well, that's
this
too.
Generation, they don't give a they don't care about anything that anybody has to say about Mandami's money, his finances, his they don't care. He's tapped into something that their own parents, meaning us, the baby boomers, Eric Adams, Cuomo, Adrian Adams, he's tapped into something that we haven't tapped into with our own children and our own grandchildren. Look, all day, every day I'm reading and I'm looking, oh, he's a communist. Oh, look, he's getting money from rich people. The millennials don't give a crap. They're listening to what he said, and they have no reason to believe that he's not going to try to do that.
Yeah, but some things
at the same time,
he says is not realistic.
But I don't know. Is it? Is it not realistic?
It's just not. You can't. There has to be trade-offs. There's nothing. Absolutely. You can't. It has to. Some of the things that he says is not realistic because it has to be a trade-off. If you're going to try to give everybody $30 an hour, Look, I got businesses. My wife got a business. Ain't no way them little mom and pop stores is paying somebody $30 an hour. Plus the mayor can't do it anyway.
There are certain things that the mayor can't do. But again, who's voting?
No. And you're right.
How many this man kicked the Democratic Party's ass. He knocked them on their ass. So I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I said Cuomo should have never ran. I think it was too early for Cuomo to run. He still had the baggage from Tish. He had the baggage from those reports. You know, he didn't take his time and get back in through the media, going on TV and doing all this other stuff to check the temperature.
I don't think he felt like he had to.
He was the front.
He was wrong. He was wrong.
When you're Andrew Cuomo,
he was winning polls before he announced that he was running.
Yeah, but I mean, polls don't mean anything.
I'm just saying
we see that.
But that's what he was going on.
We see that. Even now, they have polls. Look, here's the reality. If you're Andrew Cuomo and all the black Democratic leaders are running to you, endorsing you, the top Latino leaders running, endorsing you, you actually feel like you ain't got to do nothing. Everybody's running and kissing your ring, and you haven't really said what you was going to do. And like you said, they were giving him the polls before the man even announced.
Exactly.
For like a year before he announced.
And he never really ran. When did he run? Look at the primary and tell me, when did he campaign? Exactly. When did he campaign and when did he run? And the thing that really caught them out there, ranked choice voting.
Oh yeah, I did an article on that. Me and Charles talked about that.
Voting,
yeah,
caught them out there because now you got. Look at who you had. You had Mandani. You had Zellnor. You had Rivera. You had Landers.
Mm-hmm.
Those four people were doing the Shelley Silver, Joe Bruno, Pataki thing, and it was legal. They were making deals.
Right.
Anybody but Cuomo.
Right.
And Cuomo wasn't paying attention. Those people decided we're going to rank everybody but him.
Yeah, there was actually I saw something where they were telling people, no matter who you vote for, do not pick Cuomo as your number 2. Like that was a thing. Like, don't pick anybody but Cuomo as your number 2. They wasn't saying vote for this person. It was like, no matter who you voted for, don't pick Cuomo as your number 2.
So again, I'll back up, right? My opinion of Zoran Mandani is this. I've watched his interviews. I've listened to him. I followed his campaign. I watched his interaction with the other ones who helped him get where he is, meaning Adrian, Brad Landers, Zellnor, and I watched them. Now, do I think everything that he's saying is realistic? No. But do I think it's impossible to do? No. I think that with this particular generation, they're not you, Damon. I'm sorry. They got you. They're our kids, and we've taken care of them.
No.
And we've laid the path out for them, but they're not us. Well, and their objectives and their goals are not even ours.
No,
and I don't think
that, brother. I agree.
And I agree. I don't think that the Eric Adams or the Andrew Cuomos are paying any attention or reading the writing on the wall. I think that they're still stuck in yesterday. And that
No,
might
I mean,
very well cost them an election.
I think it's one thing. It's one thing that these younger people, they want change, and I don't disagree with change. I really don't. I think the way New York handles politics, I think the way New York, the policies, the taxes, like everything in New York is just overflated. I get it. And people now, these kids are having a hard time even finding a place to afford the rent. But there's also, it's almost like Elon Musk having Doge. It sounds good, but the government beast, no matter, and it's not, regardless of Republican or Democrat, the government beast wasn't going to allow Doge to ride it. Just like there's regardless what president is in the seat, there's an agenda to that seat, the seat of the president. So either Republican or Democrat gets in that seat, the president still has there's an agenda that comes with that seat. It's the same. It's the same thing. He could say all that, but the numbers, what he's trying to do, it's no way. It's no way. And what's going to happen is it's no way. It's economics. It's strict economics. It's just, we're going to build all these buildings. We're going to take all these buildings and we're going to give them to people, and y'all ain't got to pay no rent. So how's the buildings going to get maintained? And who's going to build the buildings?
See, I didn't hear him say that.
Oh, I heard him say that, bro. And I was like, yo, he's bugging.
Now, here's the thing, right? Like one of the millennials said to me, he asked me a question. He said, Elias, how long you been voting? So I'm 64. Mm-hmm. I voted the first time when I was 18 years old. He said, and they've been telling you, black people in particular, you got to vote. You got to vote. In order to make change, you got to vote. And he's like, well, I've been voting since the last 2 or 3 presidents, and I haven't seen any change. And I've been voting, and so I jumped on. I said, well, you got to do more than vote. He said, don't do that. He was, I do more than just vote. I'm actively participating in my community. He says, but I haven't seen any change that helps me.
No, and he's absolutely right.
And he is not supporting the status quo. So the question is, as unrealistic as Mandani may sound, who's going to be elected mayor of New York City?
No. It's no. Look, if he wins, he bamboozles a whole bunch of goddamn people. And and I'm just keeping it 100. Economics. And a lot of these things have been tried before and it failed. And it failed with smaller cities than New York.
Uh-huh.
Right? With smaller cities than New York. And they just couldn't do it. All free transportation. Yeah. How are you going to maintain it with no money? Where are you getting the money from? Oh, you want to tax the rich? They're going to bounce. They can see the rich people can bounce. The poor people can't.
Right. No,
you know how many like I know how many CEOs live up here in Middletown.
Well, reality. And
exactly.
Yes. So the reality is I'm just looking, right? And I'm looking at this race, Damon. I'm looking at this race. And I'm not seeing anything coming from any of the candidates that's appealing to this new generation of voters. I'm sorry. It's nothing that I see out there, which is what I've been writing about. I'm not seeing anything where they're literally reaching or connecting with this new generation of voters. This I
No,
call it in one of my magazines, I call it the new New Yorker. They're not reaching them.
no,
And the reality is the pitch to those who live in NYC, the pitch to that generation, the senior citizen generation that we know is going to vote one particular way,
right.
there ain't enough of them.
No,
The
not no
numbers,
more.
the numbers, their numbers are dwindling.
No, and that's
And
right.
and the
Absolutely.
reality is, Eric, in this particular case, to me, this election right now is Eric versus Eric.
Mm.
That's what this election is. To me, this election is Eric Adams versus Eric Adams because he's in the seat, he's holding the position, and he has the ability to appeal to this generation. But they're not trying to hear no BS. They're not. And he's in a position to say to them, look, guys, this is what can be done. And this is what I can do. And this is what I will do. But that's not what you are hearing. That's
How
not what
many
they're
young
hearing.
people, how many of people from those generations that Eric has around him? Exactly. Exactly. One of the things, let me tell you, one of the things they asked Miles Davis, how do you stay relevant for all these years? Miles Davis said, I always kept the young generation around me. So I always had an ear on what the new music was. I didn't stay stagnant because I always had younger people around me. So they always was talking about all the new music. So I adapted what I did with them. If Eric's not doing
so
that.
did Martin Luther King.
Exactly.
So did Malcolm X.
Exactly.
And so did a whole lot of other leaders. They were surrounded by the next generation. So you asked the right question. I couldn't answer that question because I don't see the millennials
and then
running in and out of City Hall.
And then some of the Negroes Eric had around, and he should have never had around them in the first place.
Well, in one of my magazines, I that I have him on the cover, you know, Eric made a mistake with the friends and family plan. You know, I called it the friends and family plan. Like, not all the friends and not all the family can go.
Exactly.
They can't all go.
You know, and
Now,
I love them.
It's not that they're not all qualified. The ones who are qualified, take them. But not all of them are qualified.
Let me tell you, when I saw that Ingrid was not directly by his side, that's when I knew it was over. Right? Look, you nodding your head, right? When you nodding your head, when I saw when I saw that Ingrid was not number 2 standing right next to him, and she wasn't even on the thing, I said, "Oh, it's about to the card's about to fall."
And
that's the first thing Charles Billups said.
And every time you saw Ingrid, who was she surrounded by? A whole lot of millennials.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
She's that person. She's the real deal. There's nothing anybody can say about Ingrid, you know.
Exactly. Love her to death.
She kept her finger on the pulse of the community, of everything that was going on.
Absolutely.
But just to flip back for a second, this guy Mandani just got endorsed by the UFT.
Who's that?
The United Federation of Teachers.
Interesting.
He just got endorsed by the Teachers Union.
Now, yeah, I did see that.
Now, do you know who the Teachers Union is full of right now?
Jews.
Which generation?
The younger ones. Yeah. Because
And I'm just simply
most of the
saying
old
that I'm
exactly
sim-
exactly
I'm
exactly
I'm simply here. Look, all I'm saying is, despite race, despite economics, despite everything, there's a generational void. There's a generational gap, and our generation, and I'm not talking about you and us, because we talk to millennials, we talk to
right
Gen Z. We have
right
our fingers on the pulse of what's going on. Not all of us are out of the loop.
right.
Some of us are. We understand. We know what's going on, but the ones who are in the race, they're out of touch.
Yeah.
And when you keep looking at New York City, and you keep looking at New York City, look, I'm from Harlem, right? I'm living in Staten Island, but I'm from Harlem. When I go uptown, I don't know that place. That's not my Harlem. It's not my Harlem. That's why I
Right.
said if Biggie was alive and he walked up to Bed-Stuy today, he wouldn't know that shit either.
I was in
Right.
Bed-Stuy. I was in Bed-Stuy about a year and a half ago, and I was like, and it looked like I seen young white people walking their little poodle dogs and walking their bikes, not riding their bikes, walking their bikes. And you would have thought like you were in the village or you were downtown somewhere. I was like, yo, this is Bed-Stuy, right? This is Bed-Stuy, right? It's like you don't recognize this, and it definitely. And Harlem, I said early, I used to have a shop in the Mart, and I used to tell them, I was like, yo, they about to take this over and y'all not gonna be here. And people thought I was crazy. And now, and that's because I saw them, they were coming through and buying up all the brownstones, and you could see them walking, and they would just be like, they were like like the Home Shopping Network. I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. And then it was one night, it was like 2, 3 in the morning, and this white dude walked his bike past us down Lenox Avenue between 119th and 118th Street. And I was like, yo, it's over now. Because there was a time they wouldn't cross 110th Street after dark.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He was walking his bike like he lived, like he was in Long Island or like, Westchester or something. Like, I was like, yo.
And I just think that
What's
I
up
just
to my
think
brother Carlton? He live in Brooklyn right now. He said
Gentrification is real.
and see, when you take that and you translate that into voters, registered voters,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at our millennial, our kids, our grandkids, they're very comfortable with the other millennials. They have a different relationship with their
Mm-hmm.
counterparts that are of other races, other nationalities. They have different relationships. And all of this stuff is expressing itself in the ballot box.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
Mm-hmm.
this in New York City, bro. Do you understand that in 2021, just 4 or 5 years ago, 191,000 people voted in the primary, the Democratic primary, and 5 years later, almost 1 million voted?
Mm.
Take everything else out the equation and ask yourself, who are these people?
I wanted to say something
And
real
they're
quick. So,
not all white people.
no,
Right.
we know
There's
this.
some black people and some Latinos and some
Absolutely.
Asians and some Indians and a whole lot of other people. Who are these 1 million people that just came to the poll?
Listen, they expanded what I learned in an early election like 2015 in Mount Vernon, just in the city of Mount Vernon. The established Democrats, and they told me this, there's only a certain amount of people that vote, and that's who they give everything to. They
Right.
wasn't concerned with all those people. So that year, we helped a candidate get through, a younger candidate, and I was able to register 108 people in that election because I was like, yo, do you like the way things are? And they said no. I was like, yo, let me tell you a secret. Them people ain't never gonna do nothing for you because they don't care about you because you don't vote. They was like, what? because nobody had talked to them like that,
Right.
and they all registered. So what this dude that you're talking about he appealed to them and expanded the voter pool. He didn't go after the established Democrats, and like you said, a lot of them are getting older and older, and unfortunately dying off.
They
He
expanded. They expanded the pool.
expanded the pool and identified with those young first time voters, first, second, even third time voters. Those are the ones he identified with, and they all showed up in ridiculous numbers.
And take it one step further. He expanded the pool how? He out of the 9 people running for mayor, I believe 5 of them were millennials. Right now, the 51 city council seats in New York City, the millennials are taking them over. What's that song? We taking over one city. The millennials are taking over the city council. Guess who most of the city council people were campaigning for? Other
Van Damme.
millennials.
Yeah.
Him and other millennials.
Other
Yeah.
millennials.
Take a look at Albany right now. We got a whole crop of new senators and assembly people in Albany who are what? Millennials.
I mean, you're starting to get them in the house. Starting to get them in the house. The
Look
house.
at Washington.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. In the house, you're starting to get them in the house. Yo, you used to at one point you used to look at that picture and it was like all white men, and now it took man, and the white men are getting smaller. That group is smaller and smaller. They trying to hold on to power really desperately because there's a whole bunch of young people and first time this and the first time that and the first time this and people that they've never been in, and now they're starting to be represented.
Because if you hold up Eric and you hold up Andrew Cuomo, if you hold up Cuomo and Adams, Cuomo's never going to appeal to the millennials.
No.
They don't like him.
No. If his brother Chris was running,
right?
If his brother Chris was running,
right,
the millennials would be with him.
They like Chris. Yeah, they like Chris.
They're not going to support Andrew. Now look at Eric. Eric has the appeal factor, but the problem is, does he know what to do with it?
Right, and they can find Eric in the club any night, so they can find
in the club, at the functions that they go to, in the neighborhood spots. But the reality is, does he know what to do with it? Who's he listening to?
Right.
Who's advising him? Right. Because I'm listening to him. I've been watching him since the primary's been over, and he seems to be taking the same attitude as Cuomo and the other baby boomers and older generation. Oh, and he has the appeal. He has the ability to do it. He understands their language. But the reality is, can he get out of his own way? And then the other reality is, when it comes to African American people, how forgiving are we?
Right.
How forgiving are we of each other? Because quite frankly, the way everybody ran behind Andrew Cuomo, Andrew's done some things to a lot of the people who endorsed him, and they still ran and forgave him and endorsed him.
Exactly.
He bodied some of these people in Albany, and they still ran and endorsed him. He bodied some of the ones coming out of Washington, and they still ran and endorsed him.
We always as Black people support that white person that did whatever to us, and we go back and support them again. And
so when you hold Eric and Andrew side by side, and one of my publications, I put, what's the difference? What is the difference between these two people? Like, what's the difference? What's the real difference between Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams? Now, if you ask me, I think there's a big difference. The major difference that I find is in their managerial style. Their
Okay.
managerial style, 100% different. And one, I believe, is a little bit more effective than the other. But one has a different upbringing. One was brought up in this business. And when you're brought up in a business, you don't necessarily look at the business the way somebody who's just coming into the business or coming in the business from somewhere else. But the main difference is, I would say, their managerial style. To be very honest with you, I don't see any other difference. If we start talking about what happened with Andrew Cuomo in Albany, he left, he ran. When shit got hot, he took off.
I wanted
He
to say
broke out. What they
this
say, he's a runner, he's a track star. He got up out of Albany.
this is what I've heard from a lot of black people. What's on the screen now? The reason why they ran behind Cuomo and from the word on the street was how it was perceived that he handled COVID pandemic when he was governor. I've heard a lot of I'm telling you that whether it's
No, I
that,
believe you. I believe you.
Well, Tish James put a dead to that. Her report. She killed. She
but you know what?
destroyed him.
The people who were watching him every day,
Right.
weren't reading. They're not reading. They weren't reading Tish James reports. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like they still remember. They still remember when from the White House you were hearing put bleach in him and it's going to go away by Easter. You know what I'm saying? Whether he was right or wrong, the nation was watching, and I've heard this from various states. Cuomo every day, like you're supposed to watch the president to hear something reasonable about what was going on in this.
Well, I mean,
that's the one thing that he has going for him. Everybody was watching him. And he was looking very much like a commander in chief.
Right, he was looking presidential. Like, that's what a leader's supposed to look like. I mean, the bar was kind of low. Like I said, with the stuff Trump was doing, the bar was real low. But
I don't even know if there was a bar.
You don't even know if it was a bar.
I don't even know if there was a bar to like measure up to. But when it comes to New York, what are the things that, regardless of what generation you're from, what are the things that's on our mind? Affordable housing, healthcare, affordable, available, accessible, safety on the trains, in the streets, on the buses. The millennials are concerned about the same thing.
Right.
And there again, and I'm going to be redundant, I'll say it over and over, until somebody who's running for mayor take a step back and say, hold up. You know what, guys? Y'all are right. Because guess what? Most of the silent generation, our fathers and mothers generation, they're settled. They own their homes. They've had their apartments for 20 years. They're collecting their Social Security. They're collecting their pension. This particular generation, they're not settled.
Right.
They're trying to get this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And there's nobody out here besides Mandani saying, hey, I think we could do it. I think we could. I think we could have free supermarkets. I think we could have free transportation. And to be honest with you, it's much. Here's the talking points. That's impossible. That can't happen. They tried that. Here's what they said, and you said it right. They tried that in other states, and it didn't work. And all that bullshit, right? Millennials are not trying to hear it.
I know, and this is
because they believe.
I know
because they believe that something what he's promising is much better than what they got.
No,
and then what they're getting. And so you have the incumbent running around who need to, like I said, take a step back. Take a step back. You are the mayor. You say it every day. I am the mayor. God damn it. Well, God damn it, be the mayor.
Be the
mayor for the millennials. Be the mayor for the Gen Z. Be the mayor for even those of our generation who's still trying to get settled. There are a lot of baby boomers, a lot of us who's still trying to get settled, who started
Right.
out late, who are late
Right.
boomers.
Right.
We need some help. But the reality is, which one of the mayoral candidates are appealing to you? So when I saw the United Federation of Teachers endorse this man today, I'm like sitting there, okay, let me do my next publication because this is very interesting. My
Right.
daughter's a teacher. She's young. She's a millennial. And when we have conversations, we don't have conversations about Marxism and socialism and
Right.
communism. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, wow, I'm going to have to leave New York because this 2-bedroom apartment that I have here in the Bronx, for what I'm paying, I could go to Pennsylvania and get an entire freaking house for it.
Exactly.
So who's really talking to the people that just voted? God damn, guys, Damon, the primary got almost 1 million votes. The primary, dude, what goddamn primary get 1 million voters in New York City? When has a primary in New York City got 1 million voters?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm looking at. So I pulled him up, Zoran for mayor, and I looked up his endorsements, and they're showing all the people. And I'm telling you, as I scroll down, they look like they're getting younger and younger and younger. This girl look like she barely this state assembly. One look, she like barely old enough to vote. I'm
Yes.
like, yo,
Yes.
I'm like, yo, they're like he
Listen.
has, but he also has the established. You got the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warrens, the Jerry
Yeah. Well,
Abrams,
yeah.
AOC.
I genuinely don't think Bernie Sanders does anything for him.
No,
That's
no,
just
no,
my
no,
opinion.
no. And I don't. He got
No,
Tish Jones. He got the control.
that's just icing on the cake.
Wait, so
Right.
the control.
Right.
Oh, so the controller lost. So now he's supporting him because
Yeah.
he don't want because he didn't want Eric to win. That's why he was running.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm looking at all these state senators, like what you just said. There's a couple of old ones, but they're young. They all look 35 and younger, 40 and younger.
Yes. And remember, those millennials are, I believe, 43 and younger.
Yeah, and they're that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, I look like I could be a father to half of these people on this screen right now. Seriously, I'm about to be 60. Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? So when we were talking about ranked choice voting, and I'm talking to these millennials, and because I'm always talking to them, right?
And he even got the mayor of Newark endorsement.
And ranked choice voting is
Yes.
almost like a video game.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. It's some real TikTok, Instagram. It's that's like I watched how Zelnor Myrie, Michael Blake, the woman, what was her name? Rivera, the other one that ran. I watched how they did social media.
Mm-hmm.
I watched how they did, and people, you can say whatever you want to say about social media, but the millennials and Gen Z, they ain't doing shit without social media. And the reality is, you know what? I'm cursing. You could.
Nah,
No,
we good.
you all right, bro.
I'm
We ain't got
sorry.
we ain't got no FCC. You good to go.
No,
We ain't
don't
got
worry about it. We all right. We independent, man.
No, this the internet, right? We good.
I watched the way they manipulated this ranked choice voting.
Yeah.
I told you they said don't vote for him.
Yes.
They I seen the things that said
Yes.
do not pick Cuomo as your number 2. Because if your number 1 loses, and then they when they go through, they go to see who your number 2 is. So they told everybody,
Yes.
I don't care who you vote for your number 1, do not vote for Cuomo as your number 2.
And they got 2 of the baby boomer candidates to go along with it. Brad Lander, Adrian Adams. They're not baby.
Yeah.
They're not millennials. They're baby
Listen,
boomers. They was
they-
never going to win. Neither one of them was ever
exactly.
going to win this race.
They manipulated the system, right? And we know that. Now Mandami is going to have to stand on his own.
Yeah.
He's going to have to stand on the things he said in the past. He's going to have to stand on his economics.
Yes.
He's going to have to stand on his policy. He's going to have to, he's going to have to stand on that now.
Well, this is going to be the longest 3 months
exactly
of his career because there's a lot of things that could happen in 3 months.
Look at
a lot of things could happen in 3 months.
I just want to go over these endorsements again because I was just when you said I was looking. So you got the Staten Island Democratic Committee, you got the Leaders for Deserve, Equity for Flatbush, Progressive Change Campaign, you got the Bangladesh American Advocacy Group, he got the nurses, that big nurses union, he got them. You got Voters for Human Rights, Voters for Animal Rights, Human Service Action, all these little Indian American Impact, The Nation, Citizens Action of New York, Community Voices Heard, all of those groups like Gen Z for Change, the Young Democrats of something. I saw that earlier. I'm like, yo, he had the Teamsters. I mean, across the board, Brooklyn Young Democrat. He got the Brooklyn Young Democrats. I know I saw Young Democrats in there somewhere.
Yep.
He got the New York State tenant block because he decided to give him free rent or something. He got the tenant block. He got the Engage. He got the Stonewall Democrats. Those are the ones that Mondier thought he had.
That flipped on Mondier.
Yeah. The Muslim Democratic Party, the College Democrats of New York, the Jewish Vote, the Progressive Action Network. It's just like all of the Jewish, it's like all these young groups and then all these established, the New York State Nurses Association, that's that big one I was talking about. Hotel Gaming and Trades Council.
And listen,
United Auto Workers.
And listen, there are a lot of Muslim
Worker Family.
There are a lot of Muslim.
Yeah, a lot of.
There's Muslims. A lot of Muslim organizations that don't do endorsements,
right?
But they're supporting him,
right? Mm-hmm. And then you got the people that ran against Eric in the first election. Yes. Maya Wiley, she's supporting him. Like, yo, he has across the board. And then, like I said, all these young people, city council members, state senators, Brooklyn Borough president, he looks young.
He's a millennial.
Yeah, I can tell.
Reynoso.
Yeah,
listen, let me tell you something. He said he looked young. He is. He's under.
Yeah, I'm looking at that picture. My daughter is 30, my daughter is 36, and half of these people look like they could have been in class with her, or some of them look like they're younger than her.
Yes. And that's just that's the reality. So again, I go back to like one of my publications I put Run Eric Run.
Oh man, Danny is 33 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Oh man, yeah.
He's younger than my daughter. That's what I'm saying.
Man. He's a baby. He's younger
than both our kids. Just your kid the same age.
Exactly. He's a baby.
But now let me say this. Let me ask you a question. How old was Martin Luther King?
He's 30, what? 132?
How old was Malcolm X?
But
in the 30s.
Yeah. But how old were these gentlemen? How old were these brothers when they took the lead?
Right. And you said when they were out there. Talking about Martin Luther King, John Adams was following him when he was 16. That's how John Adams got into it. Following he heard something Martin Luther King said, and he got into the mix because of that at 16. And all of the young people his age was following him.
So it's not impossible.
No.
These guys, Martin Luther King was a young millennial. I mean, even though we didn't use that term back then.
He has the machine. And we talked about this last show. They got a machine. And it's going to be hard for Eric. Curtis Lee was done. Like it's not even that. He's not even a fact.
Curtis is going to get the Republican vote. That's what he got the last time. That's what he'll get this time.
Exactly.
He's not going to siphon any Democratic votes from anybody.
Exactly.
He might not get the young Republicans. There might be some young Republicans.
They might. They
might jump over. I mean, he got the machine. It's the next 3 months. What Cuomo and Eric can pull out of him, in this process.
Well, like I
Right?
said, this is Eric versus Eric.
Eric. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? This is Eric. He has the ability to do it, in my opinion. It's not going to be easy.
No, he does.
It's
He
not going
does.
to be
But
easy.
here's the problem, brother. It's the people. You laugh at. It's the people around. You gotta, like, when you get to a certain level, you gotta have the right people, and it can't always be yes people.
Right. He needs people that can tell him the truth and
Look,
not
there
yes,
were
mayor,
people,
yes, mayor. Because he's like his highway or the highway, and a lot of his people fall
but
in
there
that
were
line.
people he had around him wasn't fucking with him when he was in the Grand Council or when he was 100 blacks. And I'm like, yo, dude, like, you need them people that had your back then, because they were the warriors. They wasn't allowing you to be attacked.
Well, see, and here's the other attachment to that. Even those people, if those people are not attached to these millennials, they're not going to do Eric any good either.
No, true.
You understand what I'm saying?
True. But you also had those levels, but you also needed. See, Ingrid took care of that.
She did.
That was Ingrid's job.
Yeah,
she protected him from a lot of things.
But she also had
he lost the protection. Yeah.
No, Ingrid had from day one. Ingrid had the streets on lock.
Absolutely.
On lock.
Absolutely.
For Eric. All the way to when he became mayor.
Yeah.
And I said it before and I say it again. When I saw he wasn't in that lineup that he pulled out in the front, that's when I knew it was going to be a problem.
That's the first thing you told me too. You was like, yo, she's not there. I'm like, who? Like, he was like, and then Charles Billups said it. And I was like, yo.
Yeah. And here's the sad thing, right? His first 4 years in office. So one of my publications I put out, his first 4 years in office, he's done some things, to be honest with you. He's accomplished some things as mayor. He really has. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure if his people do a good job of putting it out, promoting, and making sure that algorithm
right
shows what's been done. But the reality is, I think that, again, I'll be redundant. He needs to stop, take a step back, do a reassessment, take a look at where this city is going, where it's really going. Not the rhetoric, not the rhyme, not the rap, not the bullshit. Where this city is really headed, where it's really going. I was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. When I was born in Charleston was black and white. There were no Latinos. There were no Asian, Indians. There were black and white people in North Charleston.
Right.
That's not what Charleston looked like today.
Exactly.
That's not what New York City looks like.
Exactly.
And he needs to take a look at this picture if he's really serious about running. Cuomo needs to get out. He should drop out. This kid beat his ass. So he really just needs to go ahead. Just go ahead. Like, run for governor again or run for president or whatever. I don't even know why he's running. Okay, I consider myself to be political. I don't know why
There's a whole bunch of people telling him, you can beat him, you can win, Andrew.
But he saw it as a way to get back on national stage, which I thought it was, number one, too early. Number two, he didn't make the cable rounds or the YouTube or the podcast rounds to get back into, because remember, just like you said, these young people did, like the years that he was gone, there's a whole new different political ball game that just happened.
And he lost his brother.
And he lost
his brother.
But you know what else? You know what else hurt him? Eric's charges being dismissed.
Hurt Cuomo?
Hurt Cuomo. If that judge didn't throw out those charges and Eric was still facing those charges and fighting those charges, Cuomo's situation would be a whole lot different than it is now. Because Eric would have had to spend so much time defending himself, fighting off. That hurt him. I don't think his camp saw the judge doing what it did, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't know how nobody didn't know that when Eric showed up at Madison Square Garden for Trump's thing, and there was a whole conversation of them talking like, yo, dude, Trump actually said that he was being persecuted like me. Like, Trump identified with him and was like, yo, they put the machine on you like they put on me. You're a good man being persecuted like I am. I don't know how nobody thought that wasn't, that if he got convicted or whatever, he was going to get pardoned, or if Trump took over, that them charges were actually going to
I mean, it wasn't even, it was more than Trump, right? Look, I don't watch sports. I watch congressional hearings. Right? I'm weird, right? I'm not a sports dude.
I'm in your camp.
I watch congressional hearings, and I recommend everybody to watch the congressional hearings on sanctuary cities. And one of the things, that came out in that congressional hearings on sanctuary city, they went down the line. And they said to the Boston mayor, when the White House didn't do this and that, what did you do? And they said they didn't do anything. They went down, they asked the Chicago mayor, they saved Eric for last on it. They got to Eric. They said, and when the White House didn't help you with that $67 billion you spent for migrants, what did you do? And Eric said, I spoke out publicly that we needed the money. And it was a white guy, bald head. And he said, and then that's why you're the only one that got indicted. Yo, they laid it all out in the congressional hearings.
Well, even President Trump said it.
But no, Trump said it too. Trump said when he started speaking out, he's like, this guy's going to get indicted.
He said, yeah, they're going to indict him. He said when he heard Eric speaking out against, that he said, oh, this guy's going to get indicted.
But the reality is, a lot of people that I talked to that was in City Hall that whole time, they all said it was a bullshit case. Look, Damian Williams, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He was a piece of shit.
He was the one.
He was a grandstanding piece of shit. And you see the evidence, and you see it in the Puffy trial. They didn't really have a case. And that was Damian Williams.
They didn't. Well, the Puff, they tried to throw a lot at him. The problem is, what the average person conceives Rico to be is the mafia.
No.
And you were trying to put that on this one man. What I'm saying is, you understand what I'm saying? And
no, I get that. But what I'm saying,
but
AJ, my point is,
They couldn't.
That was a different administration. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Damian Williams was in charge of that case. Bogus fucking case. Which it should have been at the state level.
And that's
that
what
public case should have never been at the federal level. But Damian Williams wanted the grandstand.
Right.
Understand what I'm saying?
A legal analyst said he said the reason they're not going to get him is because they brought him to this, and he showed the federal. He said he should have brought him across the street, because across the street, the state house, he would have went down for everything. He said, but they made the mistake. They brought it to the wrong place. This place here, pointing at the federal.
But remember, this is a new administration taking on shit from our old administration.
Well,
remember that we got to see. A lot of times we get in our emotions and we forget the process. That case wasn't brought on by the Trump administration. That case was the Biden administration. That was Damian Williams.
Right. Well, see, here's the thing, right? So you know me. There's 3 months. There's 3 months. And right now, the only people that anyone's talking about is Zohran Mamdani, Eric Adams.
Eric Adams.
And again, I'll say it again. This is Eric versus Eric for mayor. Now, the reality is, don't sleep on this kid. Like this kid, he said it out of his own mouth. This kid, Mamdani, said that Eric Adams ain't even ready for him. He said that Eric Adams ain't ready for him.
No, listen. I'm gonna have my popcorn. I'm gonna have my popcorn, man. The first debate, I'm gonna put it on the big screen TV in the basement, and I'm gonna sit back and watch it fly, because I want to see it. I want to see it, man. Like this is like the Super Bowl. This is going to be the Super Bowl.
Now,
and
he needs to be
running,
challenged.
he can't hide.
Like Mamdani needs to be challenged on some of the things that
Eric's gonna
promised.
Eric, listen, it's going to be a good heavyweight fight.
Even Eric, like at one point when they were talking about the rent, and Eric was like, "Okay, this is not real because the mayor can't do that. What he's talking about doing with the rent is not something that the mayor could do. That's something that the assemblyman could do, and he should have did that." Those are the type of things.
But you made a point earlier though. The people who voted for Mamdani, that's not going to register with them.
No. Wait a minute.
It's not going to register with them.
No, it might not register, but sometimes these young people don't know the political process.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to register, and it's not going to change their support of him. That's what I'm saying.
If it's delivered correctly, if it's delivered in their language.
But they don't know how to speak their language. That's the problem.
Let me tell you something. One thing about that generation, they ain't got no problem calling bullshit.
Right.
They call each other on their bullshit.
Right.
They ain't got no problem calling it. And if it's delivered in the right language, if it's delivered correct, because think about that for a minute. That's some serious shit. For you to blame the mayor for the rent and the increase in the rent, and you're the assemblyman, and that comes under your jurisdiction, and you didn't do anything about it, that's something that if it's delivered in the correct language, it could happen. It could, because let me say this. My son is 39, right? Mm-hmm. He's a millennial. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we argue about shit. Mm-hmm. And then I have to step back and say, okay, I got to figure out another way to say this. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And it's not until I step back and speak his language Because I shoot history at them. You don't know. Sometimes I'd be like, man, shut up. You don't know shit. Blah, blah, blah. This and that. And he's like, yeah, I know you was here during, but the reality is, it's not until I step back and
Right.
say, okay, let me give it to you this way. And then he's like, well, why didn't you just say that from the beginning?
But you know what
And
it's
I'm
going to
like,
take though. It's going to
huh?
take what you just said. You know what it's going to take. You said Eric don't have those people around him like that. It's going to take those people around him to be able to give him the language to speak and tell him how he has to deliver it. And if he continues not to have those people around him, they're not going. I'm not saying it can't happen, but as of right now, the way he's moving, it's not going to happen unless he embraces those people and keep them around him and learn to speak to them the way they need to be spoken to.
And he better get on his social media game.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
He better get on his social media game.
Me and Damon was talking about other candidates like, yo, his social media game is mean. Like and
it's non-existent.
No, I'm talking about Danny. His social media game
Eric's
is
non-existent.
Right. And it's hard in these elections now to beat someone who has the tightest social media game. Like it's hard. Like it don't matter. Commercials don't matter. Palm cards don't matter. But just social media game is on point. Like
I don't understand in 2025
why everybody against social media game.
That these politicians don't have, like, a lot of them don't have weak ass social media games. Let me
give you something personal, Dave. Let me give you something personal. When I was running for re-election for president of the union, there was a group of millennials that came into the office and they knew me. They called me Unc. Hey, Unc, blah, blah, can we talk to you? And they came in my office and they had the union magazine and newsletter and stuff. And they said, could we be honest with you? I said, yeah. They dropped it all on the floor. They said, we're not reading that. We're not even paying. Then he took his phone and he said, you want to reach us?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm saying that to say that our generation haven't really caught up with that. If you look at Mandani's social media game and you look at Eric's social media game doesn't exist.
Wow.
On a local tip, when we had our show in the studio, this one dude running for judge came through, and everybody else brought like their manager or their whatever. He had his social media dude with him, Adrian Armstrong. I said, Joe, this dude's gonna win. Like, yo, he had the social media dude was so on point. You know, as hard for me to get pictures as I'm hosting the show, I got some of the best pictures of me hosting the show from this dude. He had every angle. He was killing it. And I was like, this dude's gonna win because he knew to have the presence of a young social media dude following him around. Like, that dude killed it.
There's a kid, there's a city council member, his name is Ossi, Ossi. He was doing social media for Mandani and a few of them other ones on that city council. And I'm telling you, every time I went on social media and they was breaking this thing down, they were breaking it down. They were helping me to understand. They were breaking it down.
OC, the city council member. The city council member. Oh, yeah. He's on the list. He's on their list of endorsements. That's it, right?
He was one of the ones going really hard with the ranked choice voting.
Here's an example with the generations. It was Barron Trump,
who's 19,
that told his father to go on Joe Rogan, to go on all these different shows, to set up TikTok. It was all that was Barron.
He's 19.
Was the son that said, Dad, This is where you have to go.
Yep.
And Trump said it out of his own mouth. This is the dude that told me to do all this stuff.
Because see, look at it like this. Our generation, our parents' generation are very loyal. We are a very loyal generation. Eric has supporters who are going to vote for him regardless of what anybody say about him. Cuomo has supporters who are going to vote for him regardless of what anyone says. But that particular generation, again, dying out.
Absolutely. One of his biggest
Not
supporters,
here.
Hazel Dukes, is not here no more.
Not
Hazel
here.
Dukes stood by the side of him when she stood by the side of him and was like, "Yo, I've known him," and she was rallying for him. She's not here no more. Like a lot of those people are not here.
And that's just the reality. So, in all honesty, as far as the New York City politics is concerned, that's kind of like where we at. And here's again where we are also, because another one of my publications, I put, where are the Democratic and Republican leaders?
Man,
Where
bro,
are, specifically, where are the New York City Democratic? They don't exist.
No.
They're afraid to speak. They're
Exactly.
splintered. They have issues, and they don't exist. There's a void there that's insane.
Because
And see, the other thing that's not moving these millennials, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. It's not moving though. That's not moving though.
That's the generation that don't like labels.
Not moving though.
I'm saying this is the generation that don't like any labels. They don't like labels
at all.
Right. So that includes Democrat and Republican. Yeah.
So right now, as you look at all these campaigns, let me go back. So the Democratic leadership in New York City, like I said in the beginning, it used to be Charlie Rangel, Fred Sanders, Farrell, Denny Farrell. You could just name them. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Name them now. Tell me who the hell are the New York City Democratic leaders? Who? And then when you get to the AOC of the world, they're not even trying to take that label. They're not even trying to take the Democratic label as being, they're not.
What you described, you don't even know. What you described about New York City is what we saw on a national level.
It is.
And it's the last election. What you just described is what, when people couldn't understand what, and they're still trying to figure it out, what you described, that younger generation, that's what happened on a national level. And that, and like you just said, Damon, what he's saying is unrealistic. A lot of people feel stuff Trump said was unrealistic, but
still, listen.
But I'm saying that didn't stop him from winning an election, and for all of them to vote for him, though.
Hey, Damon, he told people to drink bleach, and they still elected him, bro.
Yeah, man, he wasn't serious about that, man.
But no, but there's a void of leadership in New York City. When I was a young kid up in Harlem, when there was a problem, we knew. We got together and we went to the state office building on 125th Street.
Absolutely.
And we was going to see Charlie Rangel.
Absolutely.
We was going to see him. We was going to see this Hakeem Jeffries. Whose leader is he? AOC, whose leader is she?
I've been trying to figure that out since he got elected.
And he's in one of those positions. He's in one of those positions. And see, the thing is, what I'm saying is, where are they? Where are they? Because one of the things that the mayor's office is going to need, because the congressman would come and support the mayor. The senator, the U.S. senator, the state senator would come and support the mayor. This mayor has no support.
No.
They're all in hiding.
And some of them will come out for Mandani, and the rest of them ain't saying nothing.
Yeah. So that's the deal with New York City. I mean, here's a shameless plug. My website is Let's Talk Politics
Oh,
NYC one
definitely.
word.com. You know, it's a magazine that I do Monday through Friday. And I put it out, and it's not just about, you know, the mayor or the governor, it's about other things happening in New York City. Like, you know what was really sad in this election? The Bronx, the South Bronx, and the Lower East Side.
What, they ain't turn out?
They did not turn out, and God
Mm,
knows they are suffering the
exactly. Exactly.
poorest
Exactly.
district. They did not turn out, and the person that ended up getting elected was the chief of staff or the assistant of Diana Yala, the woman that was there. So, like, I'm doing a piece because I don't think those people should expect to see any more
Anything
change, anything
different?
different. They're
Exactly.
building a $2 billion jail. They're building a $2 billion jail in the South Bronx in that district when the Bronx don't even need a jail. I'm working on another piece where they've spent over $26 billion to shut down Rikers. 26 billion, and they haven't completed one borough facility.
Right.
Really?
26,
It was supposed to be one in
20,
every. It was supposed to be one in every borough. That was supposed to be one in every.
20,
Jeez.
26 billion they spent. And the kid who brought the lawsuit, his name is
He only got,
Nunez.
yeah, yeah. I saw the article. He only got 75 grand. Like, how do you?
75,000. 75,000. That was a money grab, and it still is. And it's something that the next mayor is going to have to deal with,
Yeah.
because the reality is it ain't going to happen.
Because Rikers is not closed, right? Isn't is it
Nope.
still?
It was supposed to be closed next year. According to the projection now, it might close in 2030,
Right.
2031.
Right. Because
Like
that was a De
I
Blasio
offered,
thing. That he inherited that from De Blasio too.
yes.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
that was Eric's other problem.
He kept he
Eric,
kept he kept
he
it
he
with
he kept
De
a
Blasio's partner
he
promise. Yeah,
kept a
over that.
lot of De Blasio people,
Yes.
Mm.
and rather than shutting down a lot of the stuff that Bill De Blasio left on his plate, he took it. For instance, Rikers. Now, Rikers is my specialty, right? So De Blasio left him Rikers, right? Eric says, well, it's the law, I have to close it. My attitude is it used to be against the law for my people to learn how to read and write. So I don't want nobody to tell me that, oh, it's the law.
Laws
Sometimes the
can be
law makes
laws
no
can be
goddamn, sometimes the law
and
makes
laws
no
can be
goddamn
changed.
sense.
And laws
Yeah.
can be
He
changed.
he
And they
could have
can be changed.
he could have
It
stopped
was
it.
it was legal for slavery too. Like I mean,
And
that was
and,
that was
and, and,
Exactly.
and guess what? Nobody would have pushed back if he said, you know what? I'm not doing that.
No.
We,
And
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 I
that
don't think anybody would have pushed back. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna do a complete audit, and we're gonna fix what's wrong.
and here's the thing. He kept a lot of the Bill de Blasio's people,
Yep.
and he shouldn't have. That's something that David Dinkins did. Kept a lot of
Yep.
Koch people, and it hurts your
Exactly.
administration. The
Exactly.
other thing
You
that he
kick
did,
out.
he continued to carry some of the things that de Blasio started that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And you can't do that and expect to be successful. And then, you know, when you have your city council speaker and you have members of the city council doing everything they can to ensure that you're not successful, and you don't straight out address that, again, you're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a problem. And I think all of that affected his first term in office. So a lot of times he was trying to take the city, let's just say the city of yes, and then you had the city council speaker saying, no, we
Right.
don't want it. We're going to do this. Like I listened to during the campaign. I listened to some of the some of the candidates, and Adrian Adams in particular, and a lot of them spoke as if they were the mayor. Like one of my publications I wrote, there's only one mayor.
Right.
So if Eric is reelected, he needs to ensure that everybody from the speaker on down understand when I say there's only one mayor, there's only one mayor. The speaker is not the mayor. The
Right.
comptroller is not the mayor. The public advocate is not the mayor. And these people, it needs to be understood. You were elected as public advocate. Do that. You were elected to be a city council. Do that. I was elected to be a mayor. Like, move out the way.
So as we kind of come towards the close of the show, what
He told me I was only going to be on for an hour.
Yeah, I know. I know. You listen to him. I know. And if I didn't do this next part, you'd be on for another hour. So that's what I'm like. So as we come to the close of the show, give people a projection of what you think we're going to see over these next 3 months, and what you perceive.
I think, like I said, I believe what we're going to see over the next 3 months is Mandani fighting for his political life, because not only will Eric Adams be coming at him, there's a host of other people that's coming because they don't want him to be the mayor of New York City.
And Washington, D.C.
And a whole lot of other people coming at him. So far, he really don't look like he's afraid.
Now, he look like he's ready for the smoke, like he want the smoke.
Yes. Like he's like, you know, these millennials, they say 10 toes down and all that shit.
Yes.
He looked like he's, he looked like he's ready. But I think over the next 3 months, he's going to be in a fight for his political life, to be very honest with you. He's going to be challenged on a lot of the things that he's saying, free rent, free groceries, free transportation. He's going to have to explain all of that stuff.
And where the money's coming from. You're going to have to explain where the money's coming from to pay for that.
Right.
Because I think that's the bottom line. If
Yes.
you can show what these things would end up costing the city, and
Right.
then where do we get the money from?
Right.
Well, it can't be tax the rich white people.
Well,
Because he said it. He said it.
He did say it. Everybody says it.
Yeah, but
Everybody says it.
But he has some of them supporting him, so he ain't.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, and that's what makes this folly.
But Damon, who don't say we gotta tax the rich? We're
Exactly.
gonna tax. What Democrat don't say we're gonna tax the rich and
the
that's how we're gonna pay for it?
And
They all
what
say it.
Democrat actually do?
Well, that's what the whole thing.
I don't know.
The whole thing with Biden is he kept saying, they kept asking him, how are you going to pay for it? And he said he's going to make the top 10% or 1%,
top
whatever,
1%,
pay their share. And if they pay just a little bit more, it's going to make this much money. That didn't go through, and that didn't happen. But that's what he was. That's what he was saying. That's what he was.
Right, but you know when a star was born is when Trump told Hillary Clinton, "Your friends are my friends. You will never change the tax code."
Well, and look at it like this.
We all got the same friends.
And look at it like this.
And you're not going to do it. And the Democrats never do it.
And you see 50 Cent came out and be like, yo, go that way. Because these guys are now part of that. They're rich. So you got the 50 Cents and the TIs and the 50, and the Little Waynes. And
50 came out against them.
But 50 said a minute ago, when he sat down with his tax person and what it was going to cost him, and then he was told what it was going to cost him in Louisiana or Houston or wherever the hell he moved to. That's where he went. He was like, yo, dude. He said, because New York was my business partner. They were getting half my money. I was doing all the work, and I was in business with New York. That's what exactly. There's a video, and he tells that story. Yeah. So
what I'm saying is he's going to have to explain that. But on the other side, talking about Eric Adams, assuming that Andrew Cuomo bows out, Eric is also also going to be in the fight of his life of trying to convince the people that he deserves 4 more years, trying to
Mhm.
convince the people that he's learned his lesson and he's learned what to do and what not to do in the 4 years. Because quite frankly, and when it comes to Andrew, that's just up in the air. That's just totally up in the air. There's no telling what he's going to do. He might decide to be a spoiler because if he's on that ballot, he's going to take votes from Eric. He's
Right.
not going to take votes from
But
Menden.
but
He's
then
going to,
but he can't afford like his political
no,
he,
but
he
his
just
name is on the ballot.
right his name
Whether he
is on.
Right, his
campaigns or
name, his
not,
name is his
his
name is on the
name
ballot.
is on the
Oh well,
ballot.
then it's a wrap. He's not. I don't think he's going to campaign.
Well, he's even if whether he does or not, his name is
name
on
is on
that
the
ballot,
ballot.
and
Yeah.
people will vote
And
for
there were
him.
some people who were
Right,
going to vote for him.
right.
'Cause just for that whole, I'm telling you,
Yes.
that whole, I don't care what they say, the way he handled COVID, you know how many people, I hear people in Westchester say that, and they
Yeah.
don't even vote for him. You know what I'm saying? They talk about how great he
Yeah.
was. And a
Listen.
lot of our people feel that way, and
Yeah.
they will vote for him because of that.
Cuomo was part of people's daily schedule to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was.
You
He
know what,
melted
Like
you
it.
know what I'm
Oprah,
saying?
he was on like Oprah every day on your news, every day,
Because
every day
he
in your living room. Yeah,
because he was preparing to run for president.
Right. Kiss
absolutely.
James killed all that.
Yeah, he was preparing to run for president. It didn't work, so he was going to come
She
through
put a
City
kibosh-
Hall to
She
try
put
to
a
get.
kibosh.
So he was going to use City Hall to try to get to the White House again.
And that didn't serve her well either.
No,
Because I told you, AG stand for aspiring governor. She was like, "Yo,
but I think that's what we're going to see over the next 3 months. We're going to see a lot of battles. It's going to be a lot of blood, to be honest with you. And it's again, it's Eric's race or election to lose. But like this kid said, Eric is not ready for him. And Eric is going to prove him right if he doesn't step back and Eric uses the word a lot, pivot.
Right.
If he don't freaking pivot
Pivot.
and
He
use
gonna-
his emotional intelligence, words that he like to use, then he's not going to be reelected.
no,
That's what I think we're looking at.
it's going to be what Damon said. Grab your popcorn.
Yes.
It's going to be something to watch. It's
Yes.
going to play out all over the internet and all over the TV. The debates are going to be scrutinized every word, and it's going to be a bloodbath. And because Democrats are good for politically decapitating each other. So
Absolutely. And we
They're
still
the best,
don't
they're
know.
the best at it, bro.
We still don't know how deep in the water Washington, D.C. is going to go. We don't know
absolutely.
how deep in New York City waters Washington, D.C. is going to go.
Absolutely. And I always said this, I say this, and people get mad. Democrats have always got mad at me. Democrats, the only army that kills is wounded. You know how leave no man behind?
They go and stab them.
They kill their wounded. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
Republicans
ain't much better, but the Democrats are top of it.
No, Republicans, listen, Republicans have always, the majority have gotten in line with the party.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, they had to get
I
spanked
know
to get
it.
in line. They had to get spanked. They had to get spanked. Then they got in line. But
Yeah.
But they still, but at the end of the day, even with this bill, there was a lot of holdouts. You had a lot of certain people that held out. But at the end of the day, they got in line with they got in line with the party. They, for whatever agenda the party is, whether we like it or we don't, they got in line with the party. Democrats are all over the place, bro.
Yeah. And afraid. Just
you can't be the big tent and then be and you know what I'm saying? That's the Republicans are one thing. You can't be the big tent, we welcome everybody, which is good, but then you have everybody has an opinion of how it has to be done. Everybody has a way they want to do it. The Republicans Whoever the leader of the Republicans is, my way or the highway. This is what it is. Right now, that might be Trump. You don't vote. I'm primarying somebody against you. You know what I'm saying? And nobody wants that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to do this, or your district is not getting anything. Like, yo, dude, and he's delivered on that and hurt some people. And some people like, yo, they don't want to lose their seat because Congress is a retirement home. You know what I'm saying? They die there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you go there, you go there to retire and to become a millionaire.
They are already. I just watched a speech by J.D. Vance. They are already laying the talking points for New York if Mandami wins. Yeah. They are already. You watch this speech by J.D. Vance. They are already laying. Now we got to understand J.D. Vance. Whatever you think about Trump, J.D. Vance is the future of the Republican Party.
Yeah, yes.
They are already laying their talking points for New York for the rest of the country.
And listen, they want to turn. They want the governorship, and if they can have some influence in the mayor race of New York City, that's one step of getting that. That's one step closer to getting that governor. Like they want that. They want that.
It's not even. They're going to use New York.
Oh, as
the rest of the world of what they don't want the shit to be.
Well, yeah,
we don't want. This is. They're laying it right now. They're going to hold up if Mandami wins. The Republican Party is going to hold up New York to the rest of the fucking United States. It's going to be New York and California. You do not want the rest of the United States to be like these two states. That is going to be the example, and they're going to run with it. And all that Midwest and all that shit, it's going to all turn. It's going to stay red. It's going to stay red. I'm telling you, they already did it to California. They got California looking crazy, right? And they're going to do it to New York because these are the last Democratic strongholds,
yes, absolutely,
in the United States of America.
They went after Chicago. They went after Illinois. They went after Chicago too.
Exactly. But they ain't even like. It's not even like Chicago. It's New York, California. Right?
Well, New York for sure. New York for 100%.
They're gonna use Mandami winning, dude. They're gonna raise so much goddamn money all throughout the United States. The point at communism, they're gonna use all that. See, it might not work in New York. Hey, Elias.
Vote Republican, or you're gonna get somebody like that.
Exactly.
That's like vote for me. Vote for me to keep that out of Idaho. Vote for me. Keep that out of Illinois, wherever. Vote for me. Keep that out of North Dakota. Vote for me.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not debating, but I'm telling you, it. Let me tell you, it's good. It's just going to be very, very interesting to watch.
Be crazy,
to watch this thing.
But how he handles it, is he, like he said, he's ready for Eric. How he handles it is like there is a scenario where that backfires on the Republicans too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like, depending on how he handles it, that can backfire too much.
Yes.
When you come too much with it.
It depends on New Yorkers.
Right.
It depends. See, it depends on New Yorkers, how New Yorkers are going to handle it. It don't depend. See, because if they're already showing people leaving New York. And we talked about this last Sunday. The next census, New York is going to lose seats.
Well, they lost seats in the last election.
And they're going to lose seats again. No, I'm talking about actual seats. That goes by the census.
They lost seats in the last census.
No, right, and they're going to lose again.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, don't get me wrong. They combine districts. That's what Lawler pushed Mondia out of his district. That because of the combining of districts, because they had less districts.
And they're going to lose more.
And New York is the reason. New York is the reason the Democrats lost the House. New York. Those New York
I'm not talking
seats.
about.
No. I'm just talking about. I'm throwing that in as well.
But I'm talking about
actual, on top of that.
But I'm talking about actual seats.
No. They lost seats. That's what I'm saying. A couple of districts were merged together because they have 2 or 3 less seats than they had.
And they're going to lose more. And they're going to lose more next census.
I think there was in the city council. There was like 2 or 3 districts that they merged.
Yeah, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to lose more.
Well, let's see
you got
what happens.
You got the next presidential election coming up. You got the midterms coming up.
The governor's election is coming up.
Right. It's all how the economics. I don't care what anybody says.
So let me be clear. Let me be corrected.
Right.
They lost a seat. They only lost one. I said seat.
Next election, they'll probably use Next election, they're probably going to use a next census because more people are still leaving. It ain't stopped. But
listen to this though. They lost 1 seat by falling 89 people short of the population they needed to keep that seat. 89 people short. And more than that are leaving. Because what you said, the older people, Damon, you just retired. And I've heard you say several times that
I've been trying to get the hell out of New York for long.
Your money will go so much further.
My wife don't want to go nowhere.
Your boy Mitch went straight to Charlotte. Like a lot of people are taking their pensions and going south. And then a lot of the younger people, like you said, that can't live here, they're finding because they're very resourceful. They'll move somewhere else and figure it out.
Yes, like I think in the last census, 20,000 African Americans left Harlem.
Wow.
And I don't know what it's going to look like in the next census.
No, it's just good. Listen.
And they left, and they said they're going to places like North Carolina, Atlanta, South Carolina.
I had a white liberal lady tell me. She said, "Well, why would you want to?" Because I was talking about Houston, Atlanta.
I got the exact number for you. Hold on. It was 10,804 people between the 2010 and the 2020 census for Harlem, the black population in Harlem. That's the exact number. I just looked it up. So I like to put them numbers out like for people.
Right.
Yeah.
She said, "Why would you want to move down there? They're racist." I said, black people are living better in those racist states that you call racist than they're living in New York.
Yeah.
I said, what are you? I said, do you know how good black folks is living?
Yes.
In Houston?
Yeah.
In Atlanta?
Yeah.
In
Charlotte.
these
Atlanta, as long as they stay in Atlanta, because outside of Atlanta,
no. Even on the outskirts of Atlanta, to buy homes and they come in, but they still live in
the outskirts of Atlanta. But Georgia is way bigger than that. When you start,
Yeah.
No, I just want to be clear on that because I've seen it.
But it's still it's still the cost of living, even if you move in different towns. That's outside or somewhere else in Georgia.
When I moved to Georgia, me and my wife, we got married down there. We rented a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with a garage with a half an acre of land for $750 rent.
Exactly.
That was what we were paying for rent.
Yeah.
Mortgage would have been lower. Like that was rent.
Exactly.
Fireplace and everything. I had a fireplace. I was living like I was living.
Let me tell you, when I visit a lot of the retirees throughout the country, thank God for pensions.
No, it's exactly. But brother, we see
right here. So I lived in Galveston for a year. Damon, you were right.
Yeah, because and that's the thing. And they say, oh well, look at Florida.
My cousin is a realtor in Houston. She's selling homes like hotcakes.
Exactly. And they all coming from New York and California.
Yes.
I was watching this documentary on YouTube, how so many people were leaving California to go to Texas. And the lady said, look, we're not coming to Texas to change the politics. You're not gonna influx of Democrats or make Texas blue and all that. She was like, no, we're coming for what y'all are. We don't want to change what you're doing. We coming here because how y'all are government. And look at Florida governor. He's talking about no property taxes if your house is paid.
Listen,
that's crazy.
Let me tell you.
And they run the state. And they run a state, and they're not going to collect property taxes.
And they already don't collect state taxes.
Exactly.
And a lot of them don't tax your pension.
That's why they don't tax your pension.
Right.
Exactly.
That was the reason LeBron and all of them could come together in Miami for that and take less money, because there was no state taxes.
Exactly.
Well, let me tell you, they took a couple of million less, but they would keep more of it though.
See, but those policies, those are real. To me, those are real life policies. Not this bullshit. Everything is free, right? That's bullshit. Real life policies.
But you know what's crazy though? Florida's showing how they can thrive off no state taxes, and how high the state taxes are here. It just makes you wonder, why do we have state taxes? Because you understand what I'm saying? Because I think Houston Texas is no state taxes now too, right? Isn't state?
I don't know.
I'm not sure about Texas.
I think, but there's another one of them states down there like that. There's also no state taxes.
I don't think Texas tax your pension.
Well,
I don't think they tax your pension.
It really appears. I mean, don't even sleep on Maryland.
No.
Delaware,
No, I'm not sleeping. Exactly.
Vegas. A lot of people broke out.
Vegas is beautiful. Vegas is beautiful too. But the whole thing is, those are real life policies. Dude, you get a mortgage, you pay your mortgage, you do the American dream, you work. Hopefully by the time you retire, you bought your house.
So
now you're not paying property taxes.
Texas has state taxes, but they have no individual state income taxes.
Wow.
And then they got
that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And then they got some marriage deduction. They got some shit that promote marriage and having kids, bro. These are the things. That shit, man. Dammy's talking. This is real life shit.
Are you getting them? Are you bringing them on the show?
We gonna reach out to him because I want to ask him.
He'll come.
Yeah, dude. Like free shit. I ain't for free shit. The Bible don't tell you to get free shit. The Bible tells you to work for your hand with your hands.
But see, Damon, where does the word free come from? Free. Like you're gonna live rent free. That's what they said. He said rent free. I don't think he said that.
Well, listen.
I don't think he said you ain't got to pay no rent. Now, I read a lot of the shit that came to my house when they was going crazy, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute.
But see, this whole new political talking point that so much shit is going to be free.
So he proposed a rent freeze, not freeze,
right. 2 years
for rent stabilized apartments in New York City.
There's over 2 million rent stabilized apartments in New York City.
He did not propose free rent, but rather aim to freeze rents increases in the city, approximately 1 million rent regulated units.
Yes, and those are the ones that he's talking about putting a rent freeze on. But Damon.
Hey, listen.
Damon said he's gonna do it for
free. Free shit, and I continue to hear free shit from Democrats when it comes to black people.
Right. No, but I just want to be clear though. because I had to look that up.
Right.
But
He said it more
but
than
that's
once.
what they've been saying.
Yeah.
But
Rent
the
freeze for
overall.
rent stabilized apartments, like just so there's a
But
freeze
who
for
owns the rent?
but a freeze for the increasing rent. Like
Right.
Yeah, but who owns the
freeze.
stabilized apartments? Who owns them? Are they city owned or are they privately owned?
Both. You got
Okay.
people who own property and they have rent stabilized
Okay.
apartments. Now landlords
Okay.
hate rent stabilized apartments.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
yeah,
and I understand why.
because prices go up
Right.
and you can't
Right.
maintain your building.
Right. See,
You
and
can't
that's
maintain
see,
your
but
building,
see,
and then they wonder why shit ain't fixed.
but see, that's the deal. Again, where as far as this election is concerned, who's saying to the people, look, we got to help the landlords
Exactly.
and we have to help the tenants. We need both of them to exist.
Wait,
They
didn't
can't
Exactly.
exist without
wait,
the other.
no. Didn't Eric say that?
No,
Eric said
I'm
something
saying,
like that.
no, I'm saying who's saying.
No. Eric said something similar to that early on. I don't know if when it was campaigning or whatever in the first election, but he said something like that.
What if you freeze the rent, but you give tax credits to the landlords that they could at least in their taxes be able to recoup some of that money back?
I'm sure
Now,
that would be.
I would go for that.
I'm
I would
sure
go
that
for
would be in
that.
the bill. I'm sure that would be in the bill. You know how Albany bills go, damn it. I'm sure it'll be in that bill. It'll be in there somewhere.
No, I understand that, but see, at the end of the, but he has to say it, right? No, I want to hear him say it. I don't want to be like, yo, dude, like if I own a building and prices are going up and I got to maintain my building, what am I getting out of the deal?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. And again, Eric versus Eric.
has to come from the mayor. The mayor has to, right? And the mayor has to. And what I didn't hear, and maybe you heard, of like, it would be the prime time in May to lay out a clear agenda for the city.
Like for instance, take this for instance. When Eric pointed out that as the mayor, he doesn't control the rent situation, right? He said that's something that is controlled by the assembly.
Right.
Here's the missing part. Okay, mayor, you don't control it, but man, you're my advocate. You're my voice.
What is your solution?
You know, you're my voice. I need you to help me.
Right.
You know, I need you to help push solutions that's going to help me be able to stay here. That's going to help me be able to continue to live here, feed my family, take care of myself. So let's see what happens, bro. Let's see what happens.
Man.
Hey,
Look, we're gonna
Wood.
bring you back. We're gonna bring you back on after the first debate.
You got it. Listen, I'm ready. Hey, Woody.
Yes,
You said you was in the Mark 125?
Yeah, man.
I was in there when it first opened.
I wasn't there when it first opened. I was there. Listen, I was there when Giuliani was mayor and he was trying to close it. And the reason I can vouch for what you said, when them old dudes didn't know what to do and they was talking about they couldn't get an appointment with Charles Rangel, me, young dude, I just walked up in Rangel's office and was like, yeah, I need to see him. And he was like, he came in and was like, come on in. Like, it was like, you wasn't supposed to be able to do that. And then I told him what they were trying to do. And he held a hearing for us and he did all that. And he held Giuliani off, but Giuliani kept his promise. The day he got out of office, he padlocked that building and it's still padlocked now. He said he was going to close it before he left. But Rangel helped us hold him off for like 2-3 years.
Yeah, me and my partner was Abdullah, the Spanish kid. So the leather jackets, and the shoes, that was us.
Yes.
I was there from the beginning. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But all right, well, it's been good, bro.
Yes, bro. Thank you, brother. Thank you again, man. Let people give the people your website again, brother.
It's let's talk politics NYC.com. Let's talk politics NYC.com is the website for my magazine, and it's the same thing on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
So
Okay, good.
while you were talking in the beginning, and I was going off to the side, I've already put that up on blackwestchester.com. I already put a link to your website. All that's
Thank
already
you,
on
man.
that's already on the website.
I
Under the video, so that's already there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I took
All
care of
right.
that. Yes,
All right,
yes.
All
man.
right. Thank you, beloved man.
All right.
Thank you for
Everybody
coming on, man.
else tuning in, you just tuned in to Black Westchester, a special edition of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. We're on every Sunday night from 6 to 8, simulcasting live on Facebook, several Facebook pages, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X, and also blackwestchester.com. You can watch the show live as well. We thank our guests tonight. We was talking about New York City politics and New York City mayor race, and we're going to have Brother Elias come back on after the first debate. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.